Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. With your morning horn is your sip of chaga coffee. Yesterday I put up a private road discussion on things I can't talk about on YouTube, so go check it out if you're a private road member. The silver slam down, it started on Wednesday. This is the latest. It goes Wednesday through Tuesday every time because that's the reporting time. Really interesting things have happened on Wednesday, Thursday, and today is Friday, the 4th of August. So keep an eye on it. It doesn't look like they are going to go after the 200-day moving average right here, which is currently at $23.18. They might, remember, they can click a mouse and put the price anywhere, but the question is, what do they benefit from? And so it all depends on how many of the tech longs you can flush out by slamming it under the 200-day moving average, or do you try to cover what you're already short? There's a lot of maneuvering going on right now in the COMEX. Let me show you right here. Now, this is the CME group. This is the COMEX futures and options where, price of silver is actually determined on Wednesday. So we had a cutoff for the reporting is on Tuesday for the CFTC Commitment of Traders report. So usually something will start Wednesday and go to the next Tuesday. The big thing that happened Wednesday is this. The change of open interest of 15 million ounces of silver came out of open interest. Now, we won't find out until next Friday. I know it's ridiculous. Next Friday after close, what was going on there. But we do know that that yesterday on Thursday, we also had a 3,586 contracts came out of the total open interest. So in the last 2 days, not counting today we'll see what happens. In the last 2 days, 33 million ounces of silver have been closed out. That's a big chunk of silver for 2 days. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And then look at this. Wow, an EFP for 2,760 contracts. We'll do the math. 2,760 times 5,000. That's almost 14 million ounces that they took from the COMEX, which isn't even there's practically no delivery on COMEX silver anymore. They're moving that over to England to be delivered into the cash market. That's big. That's a big number there. So 14 million ounces, somebody needed it, right? Which is very cool. What I think it is that entity that bought 50 million ounces, the big whale, I think they're taking delivery if they were smart, they would take physical delivery. You wouldn't be allowed to do that on the COMEX. They'll just shut you down like they did the Hunt Brothers. But you can do it by transferring the contracts in an EFP to the LBMA, where you can take physical delivery, supposedly. If they're going to stop you, they're going to stop you. So that's where all that, as you can see, out of the September contracts, 7,400 contracts were removed. 3,568 were total, just got out of the trade, so shut down open interest, and then 2,760, 14 million ounces went to London. I know it's a con. It makes you think: are there any legit traders on the COMEX? I mean, they're trading how much per day? Yesterday was 7,200 contracts. That's 35 million ounces, or 350 million ounces traded yesterday. 350 million ounces traded yesterday. It makes you think, well, who are these people? There's nobody delivery on the COMEX. Is it all bankers? Yeah. It's 99% bankers trading back and forth to each other to set the price. And if you watch my private road post, it shows who the bankers are, the actual language they speak to each other, and what they do. And they literally, the FDIC, the DOJ had them red-handed, and they made him slapped a little fine on him, $920 million. But there's a 3-year deferred prosecution agreement that comes up the 25th of September. Interesting time, which I'll get to in a second. So yeah, that's going on. Again, very little, almost no deliveries. B of A took more than half. So B of A is one of the massive silver riggers. We know J.P. Morgan. Morgan Stanley has their share. Citibank is the other really big one. But you also have, remember last month it was Standard Chartered Bank out of the blue, barely plays in the silver market, delivered like half of the silver contracts. It's just crazy. The organization and the communication between these banks. Okay, here's where we're gonna get the silver this month. Here's what you do. Here's what I do. Here's the company that's gonna do all the trading back and forth, all computer controlled. Virtu Financial is the name of that company. It's just insane. We live in a absolutely make believe world, from politics to government to these crazy wars we're fighting. Oh my God! Can you imagine if war actually cost us money, cost us gold and silver? Would we ever go to war? Probably not. But right now we go to war just so we can print more money. It is insane. I did want to point out, yes, the U.S. Mint in July, we're coming up to the last week, and I think they posted it after July ended. But we were under 1 million ounces made for the month, and I'm like, oh my God, they're falling back again. They're not going to do it. And then all of a sudden, the next Monday comes, and we're at 2 million. So the U.S. Mint playing games with their inventory, but they say they made or sold 2 million ounces in July, which is a big jump up from what Jack Surham told us that they were going to do between then and the end of the year. They got an extra 4 million ounces. This is a big jump up. Obviously, it all depends on what goes on now from here. August, they haven't reported anything yet. They're supposed to report on a daily basis. Yes, the daily basis. It says right here, sales totals by month are updated every weekday by 5 p.m. Well, you didn't sell any Silver Eagles any of these days? Come on, Mint. It's just getting embarrassing. All right. I want to talk about bank failures. It is a Friday, and that's where we love. The bankers always go belly up on Friday. As a matter of fact, here's an article on CNN called "Why So Many Banks Seem to Fail on Fridays." Everyone loves Fridays unless you're a banker, bank regulator, lawyer, or journalist in the middle of a financial crisis. That's because when the banks fail, they have a tendency to do so on Friday. They don't have a tendency to do so. It is planned and orchestrated to happen on Friday, so most people don't go to the bank on Saturday and pull all their money out and end the game. They have 2 days to smooth out. Sometimes they have 3 days. Now, we heard the FDIC, this is the entity that's supposed to guarantee your deposits. I listened to this discussion again. I've played it a few times, the November 9th meeting. Almost every single one of these people talk about the Friday events. Here's a sampling of what I'm talking about.
There are a lot of things we've been thinking about, and what we want to hear from you today is what you think the priorities would be in order to go about setting expectations appropriately in public about how we would execute Title II, so that if and when we do have to have that announcement on Friday night, ideally Friday night, that people are in a position to receive it, understand it, and say, yeah, that works.
Friday night. There's another part where one of the people says, for the big one, they want a 3-day weekend. And do we have any 3-day weekends coming up? As a matter of fact, we do. Labor Day. Very interesting, because it's right in the heart of, you got the BRICS announcement about their new gold-related currency, or whatever the hell it is, at the end of August. And then we have September 11th, obviously, is a big day for the good guys to attack the bad guys. That's what happened in 2008. And then we have the deferred prosecution agreement. There's just a lot going on. So I would expect, I'd say actually 50-50 chance that tonight we'll hear about another bank closure. Remember the Kansas Tri-City Bank? The Kansas Bank, it was, I think they have it here. Heartland Bank, Tri-City Bank, failed last Friday. So I would expect to see either this Friday or next Friday one or two more banks, and then they really start to pile on August, and then September is chaos. Yeah, and part of that has to do with the treasuries. I mean, what was it, March of this year, we had that drama with the Signature Bank and the Silicon Valley Bank and all that. A lot of that had to do with the treasuries because they were, this is the 10-year at over 4%. Well, we just closed over 4% on a 10-year. So it's just as bad as it was before. But when you think about it, wait a minute, they really didn't have to report until the end of March, which brought the 10-year down to 3.5. So this is a lot worse than we were looking at in March. If these banks hold treasuries, which many of them do, and we haven't even got into the real estate mortgage problem. It's nobody's going to work anymore. Everywhere they're just handing over the keys for these huge office buildings to the bank, and the bank's like, I don't know what to do with these. I can lend money easy. I can't manage a massive skyrise with no tenants. San Francisco is talking about literally taking control of one of these massive skyrises and turning it into like a homeless building where we can feed them and hope. I mean, there's so many homeless in San Francisco's done as a city. No matter how beautiful it is, you can take pictures, never go. Oakland, gone. My city, gone. Actually, the people are standing up. They had a meeting, emergency meeting the other night about the crime that's gone up like 400%. For Oakland, that's a lot. I mean, it was already crime-ridden, and now it's up 400%. And some of the residents are saying, hey, they defunded the police. All the crazy leftists went nuts on Oakland. If you're not going to do anything, we're going to take it into our own hands. Then it gets really crazy. Everybody walking around with a gun. Yeah, it might be the safest thing to do in some of these cities is allow everybody to be armed. That way, you're not going to have any mass shootings because once someone goes crazy, he's dead because everybody else has a gun too. I know that's crazy. That's crazy talk. That's like the theory that because many countries have nuclear warheads, there'll never be a nuclear war because everybody would just fire them off. Well, so far it's happened. Obviously we dropped the first couple bombs, but nobody else had a nuke. Now a whole bunch of countries have nukes. So will that ever, will a crazy person ever click that mouse? And that's what it takes these days. Maybe a little more to it. You need like 3 or 4 people to click the mouse for a nuclear war. But that's pretty much it. And we'll see what happens. So anyway, I do expect more bank failures again. So if you look at it, Friday, March 14, 2008 is when Bear Stearns went down. September 12th, Friday, Lehman Brothers declares bankruptcy. September 26th, on Friday, Washington Mutual seized. Friday, March 10th, 2023, Silicon Valley Bank seized. Friday, March 10th, 2023, Signature Bank went down. Friday, March 17th, UBS went down. And then we had the Heartland Bank go down last Friday. So I do expect to see some banks go down between now and the end of August. And then September, I expect to see the big ones stumble and fall. That includes Jamie Dimon's baby, JP Morgan. The largest U.S. bank derivative holding, $60 trillion would go bad. So, yeah, that's a big one. That's the mother of all banking collapses. I think they're the largest bank in the world now with a little over $3 trillion in assets. $3 trillion assets, but $60 trillion in derivatives. What could go wrong, right? So, again, Labor Day, if they're going for a 3-day weekend, Labor Day is on September 4th this year. So, the Friday would be September 2nd. Would be a really interesting time to keep your eye on it. Great article on Wall Street on Parade. Former FBI agent prepares to testify that J.P. Morgan had Jeffrey Epstein's account for 28 years, not 15 years, and impeded criminal investigation of Epstein. This is an FBI agent who's ready to, I hope he stays alive long enough to tell the world about just how involved Jamie Dimon and J.P. Morgan and the board of directors was with Jeffrey Epstein, not for 15 years, but for 28 years, double the amount of time. So they lied again, perjured themselves again. Jamie Dimon said that he barely even knew him, never met him, and there's all kinds of information. Yes, they deleted 47 million emails. This is all part of what I talked about in my private road. But yeah, keep an eye on that. Remember what Jenny Moonstone said. Those two things, the freeing of silver and the shutting down of the kid problem, they're going to be hand in hand. And listen to what this asshole says. So Jamie Dimon gave an interview yesterday, and listen to what he says, knowing that an FBI guy is saying, hey, we have all the evidence of 28 years of work with Epstein, not 15 years. Listen to what Jamie Dimon says about it.
There have been some headlines recently regarding Jeffrey Epstein and the ongoing litigation there. Has it impacted your brand equity at all?
A little bit sometimes, but we banked Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm so sorry that we did it. I wish we hadn't. Had we known then, we know today, we obviously wouldn't have. And so...
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. I mean, had you known then what you did today, we wouldn't have.
Jeffrey Epstein and the...
You did know. Your board of directors was in bed on deals with Jeffrey Epstein. Everybody knew at J.P. Morgan. This guy's a freaking liar. Through his teeth. Listen again.
Ongoing litigation there. Has it impacted your brand equity at all?
A little bit sometimes, but we banked Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm so sorry that we did it. I wish we hadn't. Had we known then, we know today, we obviously wouldn't have. And so...
Have you changed the vetting of potential clients?
Yes.
Wow, did you hear that stumble? No. We're knee deep in this. If we take out all the guys like Epstein, we have to take ourselves out because we're just like Epstein.
Because, we have to be very careful. You can't kick out people based on allegations. So, but yes, I think we can do more, particularly around a whole bunch of things. And I think the banking system, by the way, sets the highest standards of know your customer, AML, protecting people. And
So how did he bank for 15/28 years? If that's the highest standard, I'd hate to see everybody else's standard. This guy needs to go to jail. He'd be lucky to go to jail. He will be taken out at some point. If he already has, he might have already been taken. I don't know. But if you're looking for the root of silver manipulation and literally the financing of the largest problem in the world with the child trafficking, look no further than J.P. Morgan. And I think that's what Jenny's been talking about all these years. They will go together. Silver will be freed as the child trafficking is exposed. So that's where we are. Crazy, huh? That's what I got for you today. I might probably do some private road posts tonight about the looming bank failure tonight. We'll find out, right? And then the commitment of traders report comes out after close today. So I'll be able to find out what happened the week before and what's that very large whale doing in silver with at least as far as the commitment of traders report. All right. That's what I got for you. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.